Hello. Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Jackie. Hey, Gail.
I'll pull up the agenda while we wait and drop the link here into chat like usual. Can people see my screen? Yes.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
You were a little quiet there, Tracy. I'm not sure if it was your microphone.
Can you hear me okay?
There we are. Yep. Okay, we have up to 12 people, so we can probably get started. Please sign in here in the agenda. I pasted it into chat. I'll do it one more time because I think it only goes to people that are in chat once it goes out. All right, yeah, please sign in at the top and then we can jump in. Thanks, Tracy, for adding these agenda items. Just to confirm, Tracy Reagan said that we'd be doing the events SIG charter today. I hadn't seen it before this, so is somebody actually ready to present that today?
Yeah, I actually intend to do that. Emil Beckmark here from the events group. So what we have so far, and we'll see where we get from there.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we'll cover that after the end user plan. Is that you, Tracy?
Yes. Yeah, no, super happy to just do a follow-up update from last time. So if you go ahead and click on that, so we have an end user council and they're pretty actively kind of driving what they want from the CDF. So we've put together this plan. So if you want to scroll through it, and please feel free to read in detail, but I'll give you kind of the overview. So at the top level, the goals for this group are to help drive adoption at their own organizations, as well as they want to kind of use CDF as a place they can come together and advance the state of art for continuous delivery in the industry, or just push for greater adoption. So Dan, if you scroll down to the goals, so the group's been pretty mindful in sort of saying, okay, what are we setting out to achieve here? And even though sometimes it's tricky, how can we kind of work out if you're on the right track? And one of the ways is sort of saying, okay, they can speak to their continuous improvement journey, and also they can create assets or collateral that other teams or the greater industry references. So, yep, pretty ambitious, but yeah, we're seeing if we can kind of bring people together in a focused way. So they have set out an editorial calendar which consists of 4 topics. So the first one for this quarter is all around measuring DevOps success. Then we have developer productivity and developer experience. Then tooling and technology choices in Q3. And finally, in Q4, just based on our members, there's lots in the highly regulated industry. So there's going to be a focus on governance and compliance. So if you say, okay, what does it mean? Those are pretty huge topics. We've kind of set out a structured workflow of how we'll tackle them. So first of all, the group gets together and we have a kind of brainstorming session where we sort of say, okay, what are all the different components of this topic? And then typically each topic is pretty huge. So then we agree on, okay, which subset can we focus on that will kind of give us the biggest bang for the buck. Or, then we are hoping to kind of encourage those teams to share what they're actually doing and perhaps run some surveys with our communities to kind of get a current state of what, whether it's measuring DevOps or developer experience, how that topic is perceived. Then once actually these steps are not necessarily linear, but we also want to kind of go out to, stick with those steps. We want to go out to the community, and I know some folks have already reached out. So we'll be asking then people who are doing cutting edge work to talk about that, put those ideas all together, and then the expectation is that each quarter we finish off writing a white paper or whatever assets or collateral. It might be an API or something we work with the interoperability group. We're trying not to prescribe it too much. Okay, so if you go to the next bit, so roughly, then we're working on sharing a calendar of all the different events. So we'll have a content plan where we'll have these meetings, we'll have the roundtables for the wider CDF community. We want to have webcasts on the topic, and we want to host a podcast. And then we also expect to kind of have an analyst briefing and ideally finish with a discussion forum where we sort of share everything that's been learned with the wider community. Okay, and then the last bit is just a few details of the end user council. So that's the overview of the program. And I will go into the specifics of the first topic. So if you go back then to the talk.
Oh, to the agenda.
Yes, sorry, words escaping me. Okay, so the first thing we're mapping out is measuring DevOps success. And it looks like the focus area for this will be kind of the DORA metrics and the 4 keys. So the 4 keys and working out, how are people measuring this? How are they measuring it? What are good practices? What are different aspects of that? We have a repo. So if you go ahead and click on the End User Council repo, and we're planning to use GitHub discussions as a way to capture that. So our End User Council members will be kind of using this as a forum. I've kicked it off with a couple of topics. So on the first one, like the literature survey, that's where we're collecting all the links we might have to folks who have written about measuring DevOps success. So we referenced that, Accelerate has a very good chapter on that, but then there might be other elements, different articles, that great talk from CDCon, for instance, we'll put in there. And maybe not just DORA metrics, but other ways of evaluating whether your teams are happy. So if anyone has any kind of links or articles, feel free to share a brief overview and then the link to the article here. And then if you go back.
All the way? How far?
Yes, to the in practice. So this is the show and tell bit. So in addition to the conversations we'll be having with the end users, we're trying to open it up. So anybody who also wants to improve their team can start by just taking a snapshot of where they are. So just sharing what is the reality, what are you doing in practice? Do you know kind of what your 4 key metrics look like for your team? Do you have additional context? Is your team aligned on them? Anything on this topic that is, not theoretical, but is practice or reality for anybody who wants to kind of critically examine it and improve it. Okay, so actions, I will encourage you to jump in on those threads. They will probably be other ones started by end user folks. And then the other action is if you have an event that should feature as part of our calendar, or if you want to be involved in the roundtable. I know some of you have already reached out and I'll be following up. But we're prepping the calendar of events. So we're going to say when each of the things in the content plan will happen this quarter. And yeah, just please let me know. We're really trying to bring everyone together on this topic and try to see it from multiple different perspectives and see what we can learn by all working together. And I'd like to, maybe just open it up for a little bit of Q&A and also some other thoughts. So first of all, any questions or comments?
I'll just start. I love the content train. I love building it. And I think the quarterly cadence is going to be great, especially with the podcast and analyst conversations and everything. So,
Great
job organizing it.
So one of the things, oh, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, this is very similar to a trade show we used to go to, which was called All Things Delivered, where they would have, it was mainly end user focused. So what you're putting together is very similar. And I know that was very successful. So I think this is well worth it.
Great. Yeah, I might ping you for any links to that just to see if there's any other ideas and thoughts we can borrow.
No problem.
Cool.
The one thing I was wondering, and I don't know where this would fit, would be, and I hate to call it a maturity matrix, but maybe a success matrix, if that would fit into this as well, so people can kind of judge where they're at compared to everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a thought that keeps coming up. I think the preferred language folks use is the capability matrix, just to get away from the baggage with maturity models.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that is, I'm going to make a note because I think for each topic, giving folks a way to self-assess in a practical way that leads to improvement would be really nice. Because I think at the end of the day, we're just trying to help you get better. Put yourself in context of the industry, perhaps, so you know where you stand. Like that. And I was wondering as well for like our open source projects, I know this group doubles as kind of cross-project discussions. I'd almost love to see if we could get each open source project to speak to its role it plays in let's say DORA metrics. So like Tecton, could link to that project by Dina Portman and say, hey, here's how you could instantly automate all these metrics. But is there that option for Spinnaker or Jenkins, or what if people were using those tools, how should they be thinking about measuring DevOps with them? So I don't know if that's too much of a stretch, reasonable, or what that looks like. So yeah, open to any thoughts. Maybe Jithin, I'll put you on the spot. If I had to say, hey, could Screwdriver speak to how you might use it to measure DORA metrics? Any thoughts on that?
Not quite. I think we'll have to think through how we can convert this into some sort of a specific metric. Because if you look at DevOps, there are different ways in which a tool is used for various different use cases. Used for deployments, for building CI. I don't know if we can convert this to a common metric where we can say maybe do some surveys to see how the tool is working out. I don't know how we can structurally capture it. Maybe some surveys is what I would think.
I think some of the metrics should be pretty easy for most of the projects, like the deployment frequency and maybe even lead time for changes. But the other ones start to get a little trickier, like sorry, I'm just looking at them now, like the time to recover and change failure rate. I'm not sure we have too many tools that kind of cross into the operations and alerting space to really have all of that information.
Yeah, and even going back the other direction to, when something is added to a sprint, and requirements are gathered, that comes into this whole metrics as well. When something is added as a new request for a new feature, how long does it take for that feature to get to production? That going to those requirements gathering tools is kind of out of the CDF scope, but there still is a tie that needs to be made there. And like you said, Dan, onto the other side, onto the operations side, the tools exist, but not in the CDF world.
Mm-hmm.
We all interface to them in some fashion.
I think maybe something like Spinnaker that does have the structured rollback support or something that can get at the failure rate if you assume that a rollback is a failure.
Right.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Yeah, for Tecton, I mean, it was used in the original talk, so I guess it is possible to collect metrics. Of course, Tecton is by itself very non-opinionated, so you can do a lot of different things with Tecton. But I guess one of the things that we started considering is maybe to have some stories on how you could use Tecton for doing specific things. And yeah, I guess this could fit in that area. So I'll definitely bring it up with the rest of the team.
And I think Jenkins X is probably a bit more end-to-end than some of the other projects. So it may be that it's a better fit for us to look at some of that and see how we can help support that.
Yep.
I would say that the projects would look at the low-hanging fruit, like Dan said, around frequency, those ones that we know that are there, and then work our way outwards.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be pretty, at least with Tecton, it seems like it'd be pretty simple to set up like a deployment frequency metric over time and then see if you're getting better or worse. In the absence of knowing what your rate frequency should be, at least if you're going up or down. I could imagine setting that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I dropped the link into the talk I was referencing from Dina Portman, who shows a dashboard on GCP and runs it with Tecton to kind of automate some of that, which is pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, no, thanks for those thoughts. And yeah, I'm definitely chewing on this all quarter. So we'll try to think maybe either how to set up the right discussions to bring folks together to push it forward, or just just capturing what people are doing and spreading the word about what is possible and just driving again that industry clarity. Great. Yeah, feel free to let me know if any thoughts after the meeting or whenever on this.
Awesome. All right, time for the events charter. Do you want to take over presenting and sharing email?
Yeah, I can do that. No problem. I hope. Actually, last time I tried to share my screen through Zoom, I failed, but let's see if it works now. So, do you see my screen now? You hear me, right?
It looks black.
Looks black. Okay. No, then I cannot, unfortunately. So please, you see the link there in there, Dan. You can open the link instead.
Sure.
Uh,
Give me
sorry for
one
that.
second.
Let's stop sharing. No way. Yeah, good.
All right, just tell me when to scroll.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, I'm here representing the work stream that is called currently Events in CI/CD, which is a work stream within the interoperability SIG. And we were asked here to come here to present our work and our charter, and with the intent to propose this work stream to become a proper SIG of its own. And of course, why would we like to be a SIG? I guess there are multiple reasons for that, but one is the scale of it. When we were forming our work stream, we were, I think, representing 4 different organizations or tools in the CI/CD landscape. But since then, it has grown quite a lot. So we are now at least double that figure, I believe. We are attracting quite a lot of people, and we want to be able to do some more hands-on work, which we think will be enabled if we were lifted to become a proper SIG of its own with working groups underneath. So what you see now is the charter that we've been working on. It's currently work in progress. I'm about to create a pull request to add this to our GitHub repository, but this is the working document that we have. So for introduction there, to begin with, we are, if you scroll up to the top again, yeah, you see we think that the CI/CD systems of today, they don't talk to each other in a very good standardized way. There are point-to-point communications going on between all tools, but we foresee that there is a need for having a standardized way of communicating between these systems. And that's, of course, the topic in the interoperability area. That's why we have emerged from the interoperability SIG, I believe. And now this group is looking into how events can help to create CI/CD systems with decoupled architecture, which is easy to scale and which makes it resilient to failures. You see the events there is linked. It's a definition from the cloud events specification. So if you maybe would, I don't know if we should open that up, but it's quite often confusing what an event is. But we see the event as something that contains the data for an occurrence of something happening in a CI/CD system. So it's a data record, as it says here, representing or expressing an occurrence and the content of that occurrence. So that's what we mean with an event. It's in line with what Cloud Events says about events, the CNCF product Cloud Events. Yeah, we can go back again to the charter. We have outlined some bullets on what we intend to discuss in this group, what we currently discuss and what we aim to continue discussing. When to use events and how to use them, best practices, and how to orchestrate workflows using events, and a lot of other things for tracing, auditing, graphing, visualizing, and metrics and things. And the outcome from this group is expected to be a standardized event protocol, which caters for technology agnostic machine-to-machine communication in CI/CD systems. And we intend the specification to be published and agreed upon between relevant Linux Foundation projects members. And we also intend to provide a reference implementation, and that's maybe another reason for becoming a SIG, to attract more people, to make it more visible, because that would enable us to form groups that could do more work in this area, we believe. So that would enable us to actually provide such reference implementations, for example. Yeah, that's the short version of it.
Awesome. building off of Tracy's last discussion point, I can imagine using these standardized events to come up with standardized ways to calculate things like the DORA metrics. If there's a standard way to represent a deployment or a rollback or a change or anything, make it much easier for people to track those across all the different tools.
Yeah, very much so.
Hey guys, this is Tracy and Steve. We're dialing in the old school way because our internet crashed.
Again.
We're having a big storm in New Mexico, so that may be the reason.
Oh. So what does the process look like if we would like now to continue proposing this to become a SIG? What would we do? Or would you directly now say that we should not? Or what do you think the next step would be for us?
Question. It looks like you've done most of the work here on a proposal. I think the next step, according to charter and everything, is to submit that as a pull request to the TOC repo. There might be some minor changes as you convert it into Markdown, but I can find the link and send you the template for how these get proposed.
Great.
I'll drop it into the chat here.
And then Dan, does the TOC vote on it?
Yes. Yeah, we would review the pull request. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the main requirement is just to have a TOC sponsor. So if there's someone at the TOC who's committed to kind of being the sponsor / liaison, it's practically good to go.
Okay. Is there anybody at the TOC at this point that would like to step up and be that liaison?
Crickets.
No.
I think we're missing many of our TOC folks.
I can't tell who's on right
Yeah.
now. Do we have a full board?
No, we are missing a few people today, so don't let that get in the way, I guess. I'm sure somebody will step up once the pull request gets created.
Okay.
So Dan, shall I work with you as well? And we can maybe ping some of the folks we think will be a good fit for this and aren't already. Yeah, I know you're pretty overloaded with TOC sponsoring.
Yep, yeah, we'll find someone. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, then I'll create a pull request.
Yeah. And I think that the great thing is, like, unlike some of the SIGs which come in and are just, only exist in paper, the fact that this group has already been meeting the criteria in terms of having the regular meetings, making it open for anybody to join. I think that's great. And we can get the ball rolling, I would say, on the kind of announcement side, if we want to just use that as a way to push for visibility and reignite interest and get people in the wider community to come attend the meetings. So
who is the sponsor for the interoperability SIG?
I think it's Dan.
No, it's done.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was either me or KK, but yeah, it looks like it was me.
Well, I won't ask you, Dan. You've already got enough on your plate. I was thinking maybe that was a good candidate.
Yeah, who are in the proposal? Have we identified who the chairs or co-chairs are for the group?
No, we haven't discussed that yet. So that remains to be discussed within our group, I guess, to propose something in the pull request.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. Just we tend to give the co-chairs a bit of greater access in terms of the GitHub repos, the calendar invites. So just a small thing to have those folks identified so they can play a greater role in structuring and managing the calendar, etc.
Yep. We'll
it looks
kick
like
up
we
that
should
contest right away in the Slack channel.
Yes, we need to identify a co-chair, and we need to find a TOC liaison.
Yep. Yeah, there might be. I mean, you've done the hard work of explaining what this thing is going to do and all of that stuff. The pull request might just have a couple of their little I's to dot and everything as you start filling out the template, but that should be the easy part.
Okay.
All right, so I think I'm sharing the right tab again. I got a little screwed up when I was trying to go back.
Before we move on, I think this was great coincidence because this week it marks the first year anniversary of interoperability SIG. So it's kind of like after first year we could kick something, you know. We found an area where there's a lot of interest. So thanks to Workstream for doing great job.
Yeah. And thanks to interoperability for spawning another group.
It's working as intended. Awesome. All right. Up next, Google Summer of Code 2021. Summer's coming soon, hopefully. Let me click this one.
Jacqueline was going to, and she did. Sweet. So we've got, so I guess I signed up for this again. We were trying to pull together something for GSOC for the last newsletter. And one of the things we discovered is we didn't have enough organization around closing artifacts, recordings, and presentations. And it turns out I need to circle back around with some of the project owners, but we had projects that were marked as complete, but didn't actually get merged. So, so there's some logistical things in there that we'll need to learn from for 2021. But yeah, stuff kicking off. I'm hoping that we'll get good representation from all of the projects for this go around.
Yeah, so just to let you know, Ortelius put a pull request into the SOC repo, and also there's the Jenkins update is out there. So there's 2 PRs out there to update around the project ideas that need to be
I'll look. I will go take a gander at those. I am behind on my PR reviews.
They're both pretty simple, just you know, README updates. So it's not like there's a lot of files. They're both in both PRs against the README.
Sounds good.
So we have to finalize this. We have about a month, I guess exactly a month. Is that correct?
Something like that.
So February 19th here.
Yeah. And Tara, just to let you know, I don't think Cara de la Mark is on the call, but she confirmed she'll be the admin for Jenkins, as well as her, along with the James's tracking and enrolling, will be contact points for Jenkins X. And yeah, and she can also says she's happy to help on as the GSOC admin if you want to work. If you want someone to
would
work
be
with.
lovely. Yeah, that would be great. And I'm assuming Oleg is going to be running the actual project oversight again, or
I don't
or no?
know, to be honest.
Done?
Jackie's still here. No, I think he tends to be involved, but I just don't know the current state. So
Okay.
I want to say one way or the other.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with Rosalind and Isaac for Armory. Let's see. Dan, do you know what Christie and company are planning, if anything?
I don't know.
Okay. I will give her
yeah.
a shout.
Cool.
Okay, and then
go ahead, Tara.
No, go ahead, please.
We did have one question from a person that wants to participate from the student side. They just graduated graduate school just recently, and they're wondering if they could participate, or since they're no longer in university, that they don't qualify.
That's a good question. I I thought that last year, if you had asked me this question, I would have said, no, I'm pretty sure that they're firm on the student thing. But what I saw with some of the participants seemed a little gray area. So let me dig into that a little bit more and I will get back to you. Okay.
Because we already have 2 to 3 students that want to participate from our side.
Okay. Well, I'll see if I can get clarification on that. It may be that it's a matter of, even if it's okay, it may be a matter of stack ranking your potential contributors, because we're only going to get so many slots that we'll have to divvy up. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So CDF in its entirety got 3 slots last time, for example. We're combining with Jenkins this year, and we've already reached out to confirm that they recognize Jenkins. You know, hopefully we'll get some grandfathering in as far as participation. But at the end of the day, we'll get as many slots as we get.
Got it.
Yeah, maybe. So I know part of the, you mentioned Tecton. I know part of the reason Tecton wasn't involved last summer was they took on a whole bunch of other interns, not through like the GSOC program.
Right.
I think, you know, Red Hat hosted, I think, like a dozen or something interns on Tecton, and Google had a couple as well. Maybe, you know, when we do the wrap up post next year or something, it'd be good to just kind of point out all the different student programs that CDF projects are involved in and not just focus on GSOC to kind of get a more holistic view.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll follow up with them too to see exactly what they're planning for this summer. All right. End user council update. Oh wait, sorry, I scrolled too far when I was switching tabs. Newsletter updates. Yes. So we skipped the last one for projects because projects did a good job taking a holiday break this time. Not too many releases or updates happened over December, but this is just a kind of reminder to get your project updates into that doc for the next one, so we can get that going again. It was pretty popular in the newsletter to see all the different kind of high-level things from each project. So let's keep trying to do that one, and I'll keep sending out reminders over email to everyone. Any other topics before we close today?
And just to build on that one, I know Jackie mentioned she got kicked off the call thanks to the storm, but she's pulling together the annual report. So we're hoping to share that either end of this week or early next week. So thanks everybody for all your input. I had a brief preview of it, and it's looking really good. And then, yeah, on the newsletter, we decided to skip the January one as folks were getting back into things. But if you share your project updates, we'll have those in the one going out early February.
Awesome. It's great to see all the different updates and stuff going out each month. Thanks. All right, everyone. 20 minutes back.
Oh, the last thing I will say is actually CDCon call for papers is open. We already have about 15 talks in progress, and we know 500 folks have registered for the event already. So please submit your talks on all the exciting work you're doing. And yeah, looking forward to a really good event later this year in June, virtual.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.